Picture this. It's 1995. The Bankhead bounce is blasting from car stereos. The sidewalks are alive with music, laughter, and the unmistakable rhythm of Black Southern culture. It's 105 degrees during a brutal summer heat wave, but spirits are high and community is everything. On every block, you see Black families. At the park, running corner stores, sitting on porches with fans waving and kids playing tag in the heat. Atlanta wasn't just a city, it was a capital, the Black Mecca. The home of Outkast, of Morehouse and Spelman, of Black wealth, Black excellence, and Black Southern pride. Scope News presents a deep dive into the quiet crisis reshaping Atlanta. The truth no one wants to confront. The city is losing its Black population. The very people who built Atlanta, its culture, its legacy, its soul, are being displaced. One zip code at a time, the erasure is happening right before our eyes. Back in the 1990s and early 2000s, Atlanta's population was over 60% Black. The city was unapologetically African American. From the mayor's office to music videos on BET, from the barbershop to the pulpit, it was a city where Blackness was centered. Atlanta was where Black people could thrive, where students came to attend HBCUs and stayed to build generational wealth. But starting in the 2010s, a shift began. Quiet, slow, but dangerous. Gentrification crept in like a thief in the night. Entire blocks of historically Black neighborhoods were bought out. Developers swooped in with offers to elderly homeowners, many of whom had no idea their properties had skyrocketed in value. Public housing units like Bowen Homes, Techwood, and Carver Homes were demolished under the promise of urban renewal. But the replacements weren't for the people who were pushed out. You see it now in places like Old Fourth Ward, once home to Martin Luther King Jr., where luxury condos now tower over the remaining mom-and-pop shops, and white joggers run past murals of civil rights leaders, never stopping to think about who used to live here. This is not accidental. This is systemic. From the years 2000 to 2020, Atlanta's Black population dropped from 61% to just over 47%. And as Black families left the city, white and non-Black newcomers moved in. But it's not just gentrification, it's immigration, it's policy, it's capital. Let's break it down. Metro Atlanta has seen one of the fastest growing immigrant populations in America. Since the early 2000s, the Latino population in Georgia has exploded, alongside Asian and Middle Eastern communities. Many of these immigrants arrive with business grants, low-interest loans, or federally supported programs to start restaurants, gas stations, and beauty supply stores, resources that Black families have historically been denied. At the same time, Black business owners struggle to get funding, and longtime Black residents are priced out of their neighborhoods by rising property taxes and rent. Take a drive through neighborhoods like Kirkwood, Edgewood, or East Atlanta Village, and you'll see it. $900,000 homes where grandmothers once raised 5 children on pensions and Social Security. Luxury coffee shops and yoga studios where soul food diners used to be. Apartments with names like The George and Elevate sitting on land that once held shotgun houses full of history and love. And let's not forget the role of tech. As Atlanta became a new hub for the tech industry and film production, particularly with the expansion of Tyler Perry Studios and the influx of tech companies during the pandemic, a new wave of migration flooded the city, wealthy transplants from New York, California, and abroad. Many of them were not Black, and many were willing to pay double or triple to live in homes in historic Black communities, driving up the cost for everyone else. Even the housing assistance programs are changing. Section 8, vouchers don't cover what they used to, and new mixed-income developments are offering fewer and fewer affordable units. Some former public housing residents were promised the right to return, only to find they no longer qualified under new guidelines. So where are Black people going? Many are being pushed to the outskirts, to Clayton County, South Fulton, Conyers, and beyond. Areas with fewer resources, longer commutes, and often less political representation. Others are simply leaving Georgia altogether, And those who stay are watching their neighborhoods become unrecognizable, watching churches close, schools shut down, and the culture they built become commodified for tourists. But there's another story unfolding just outside city limits, in places like Norcross, Georgia. Once majority white, Norcross is now over 50% Latino, with some neighborhoods climbing higher. It's referred to as a gateway community for new immigrants. Norcross is often cited in local planning documents as a gateway community for immigrants, and with that title comes federal and nonprofit support. While some of these residents arrive through legal pathways, countless others are undocumented. Gwinnett County, where Norcross is located, has been a magnet for migrants crossing the southern border. Some sources estimate that up to 30% of Norcross's Latino population may be undocumented, though exact figures are difficult to track due to legal protections and underreporting. But here's what makes it complex. Despite their undocumented status, many of these new residents have access to underground housing networks, informal employment systems, and community support pipelines that allow them to live, work, and build wealth without interference. Latino-owned construction companies, restaurants, and shops dominate Norcross's economy, and increasingly, its politics. Meanwhile, Black residents, especially low-income families displaced from Atlanta, are shut out of this new economy. They don't qualify for immigration aid, housing vouchers earmarked for refugees, or community microloans set aside for immigrant entrepreneurship. The result is a quiet racial and economic border between Black Americans and Latino immigrants, especially in the metro outskirts. African immigrants are part of this shift too. Drive through parts of the metro area, and you'll see entire corridors of Nigerian, Ethiopian, and Ghanaian restaurants, markets, and churches. While diversity is often praised, it's important to ask, how are African Americans, those who've been here for generations, benefiting from this influx? Or are they slowly being written out of the city's new identity? And just north in Alpharetta, a booming South Asian community is transforming the area with tech jobs and million-dollar homes. In some zip codes, over 30% of residents are Indian or Pakistani. But tension surfaced when a high-rise charged a curry cleaning fee, sparking outrage. The fee was later dropped, but it revealed something deeper: cultural double standards. Who gets to feel at home? Who gets asked to sanitize their heritage? Then there's Duluth, where entire shopping districts feature signs in Mandarin or Hangul, more common than English in some plazas. The Asian population in Duluth has surged past 40%. From banks to bakeries, K-pop lounges to Korean spas, it functions like a parallel economy. But for displaced Black Atlantans, these aren't community hubs, they're closed doors. Cultural and economic hubs that rarely hire, welcome, or cater to the communities they replaced. And let's talk about politics too. Atlanta's leadership has shifted. While the city still elects Black mayors and celebrates its civil rights legacy, the identity politics are changing. More non-foundational Black immigrants, Jamaicans, Nigerians, Ghanaians, are entering city government and influencing culture. While they may share skin color with African Americans, the politics and values are not always aligned. Many of these leaders have no ancestral ties to slavery in the U.S., no connection to Jim Crow, and no investment in the struggle for reparations. And yes, there's another layer no one wants to touch. Atlanta has always been a place of Black pride, but also Black struggle. And now, as the face of the city changes, so does its leadership. While some of these new officials claim to uplift all communities, they often push multiculturalism over specificity and erase the multi-generational Black experience rooted in the South. Atlanta becomes Black in appearance, but detached from its soul. Atlanta is being rebranded from the inside out. Real estate developers call it revitalization. Politicians call it progress. But Black elders who've lived through every wave, from desegregation to the crack era, call it what it is: erasure. You see, They remember when you couldn't even drive through Buckhead as a black man without being pulled over. Now black people can't even afford to live in the city they fought to keep. And the irony? Some of the very same white and immigrant families moving in today are benefiting from the policies, protection, and public image that black people built over decades. And just like what happened in Compton, Oakland, and Brooklyn, it always ends the same. Once the black faces are gone, the cultural value remains, but is sold back to the world through rap music, branded fashion, and tourism. But the people who made it possible? Forgotten. Atlanta is changing, but not for the better. Not for the black people who gave it its name, its rhythm, and its soul. The question is, will anybody fight to stop it? Or will this be yet another black city turned inside out, while the world keeps dancing to its music? Scope News tells the truth. Here are the facts. U.S. Census data shows the black population in Atlanta fell from over 60% in 2000 to just over 47% in 2020. The Atlanta Journal-Constitution, WABE, and Curbed Atlanta covered the destruction of public housing units like Bowen and Techwood. Georgia State University and the Urban Institute explained how gentrification displaced black families. Pew Research and the Migration Policy Institute tracked the explosion of immigrant populations in Gwinnett, Alpharetta, and Duluth. Reports on the Curry cleaning fee were confirmed by housing advocates. Local testimonials and grassroots records helped reconstruct the lived reality behind luxury developments, tech migration, and Section 8 displacement. Political data on non-foundational black officials, including Nigerians, Jamaicans, and Ghanaians, was cross-referenced with county electoral rolls. If anything was missed, it wasn't on purpose. We look for what others ignore, because the truth deserves more than silence. Legal disclaimer. This content is intended for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Scope News makes every effort to ensure factual accuracy at the time of publication. However, some errors or omissions may occur. Viewer discretion is advised. The perspectives shared aim to reflect historical and cultural realities based on research and testimony. Any resemblance to real persons or events outside this context is purely coincidental.